me and his mom.
You were on the hit list?
Yeah.
Were you next?
I don't know. We still need to really find a way to, if nothing else, be there for your child. Because this is a surprise. This is a surprise you don't want. Like, to find out your child was even capable of this, because you run around thinking you know your child. Lord knows I'm barely making it, but if I can make it through this, you can too. There's nothing without the help of God.
Authorities say a family was targeted in a mass shooting that stretched across East St. Louis. 5 family members killed at 3 different crime scenes. And tonight, 2 teens are in custody. Fox News' Cameron Mendoza has the latest from investigators and city leaders, along with reaction from neighbors.
This feels like something that would happen on the first 48, not nowhere near.
5 members of the same family, 3 locations across one city, a grandmother, a mother, a son, a cousin, all dead within days of each other. But the detail that stops this case cold, the detail that no headline has been able to fully capture, is not the body count. It is the reason. 2 teenagers, a relationship the family tried to end, and a plan that started not on July 12th, but days before, when the first body was hidden inside a storage tote in a dumpster, and nobody knew yet that it was only the beginning. Welcome to Crime Cipher. We decode the cases the headlines summarize and the truth the system leaves behind. Subscribe if you are new here, because tonight we are telling you the story of a family that tried to protect a 15-year-old girl from a relationship they believed was dangerous, and the 5 people who paid for that decision with their lives. But before we get to who this family was and what they meant to each other, and to their community, you need to know one thing. While investigators were still trying to understand what had happened across 3 locations in East St. Louis, Illinois on July 12, 2026, they recovered a text message from one of the suspects. For words, "I love blood." That text was already on the phone before the shooting started. The plan was already in motion, and the person who allegedly wrote it was 15 years old. But we will get to that. First, you need to know who this family was. Patricia A. May was 74 years old, a minister, a community volunteer, a grandmother who showed up for her church, her neighborhood, and the people around her the way people who have spent a lifetime in service show up. Not because someone asked them to, because that is simply who they are. Her family described her as the kind of woman whose presence held people together. The matriarch, the anchor, the person everyone else oriented themselves around when things got hard. Her daughter Cherie L. May was 49 years old, a mother herself. A woman who had built her life inside the same community her own mother had served for decades. Cherie's son Devin D. May was 24 years old, a young man who on the night that would take his life was simply doing what people who love their mothers do. He came to check on her. He walked through a door, and what he found on the other side of it cost him everything. Shania W. Thompson was 25 years old. Quentin L. Thompson was 21 years old. Both of them family, both of them gone. 2 additional relatives survived their injuries, but remain part of a family that on the morning of July 13th woke up trying to count who was still there. Marcus May, the father of the 15-year-old suspect, lost his mother, his sister, his nephew, and 2 stepchildren in these attacks. That sentence needs to sit with you for a moment. The father of the person prosecutors believe helped plan these killings lost 5 members of his own family to those same killings. He told local media that his daughter had been upset with family members and had plotted the attacks with her boyfriend after the family would not allow the couple to stay together. He is simultaneously a grieving father and the parent of an accused killer. There is no framework that makes that easier to process. East St. Louis Councilman Courtney Hoffman II stood in front of reporters after the arrests and said what every person in that community was asking. He said it makes you wonder what would make them do such a thing. That is where he said he was with it. Like why? What would be the reason? The violence did not start on July 12th. That is the detail that separates this case from every other mass shooting story that has come across this channel. What happened on July 12th 12th was not the beginning. It was the end of something that had already been running for a week. It started on July 5th. Cherie L, May 49 years old, was killed first. She was found inside a storage tote in a dumpster at Godfrey Homes. According to the state's attorney, Mayor Davis shot Cherie at least 4 times. The 15-year-old female suspect allegedly shot and stabbed her an undisclosed number of times. While the two were cleaning up after Cherie's death, her son Devin May walked in unexpectedly. He came to check on his mother. He was shot and killed on the spot. 2 people dead, both inside an apartment, both cleaned up, both hidden. And the people who did it were still walking free a week later. Then the 15-year-old allegedly lured her own grandmother into that same apartment while Davis hid in a closet. Patricia, May 74 years old, walked through that door trusting the granddaughter she had spent a lifetime loving. Davis jumped out and shot her. After Patricia was dead, they cut off her right thumb to unlock her phone. Davis told the court it was not his plan. He said it happened a while ago. He did not plan it. He did not want to do it. He said cutting off the thumb was the 15-year-old's idea to access Patricia's money. On July 12th, the violence moved outside. A cousin named Santasha Scott was in Jones Park across the street from the Jackie Joyner Kersee Foundation looking for the 15-year-old when she was shot in the back, allegedly by Davis. At North 39th Street and Summit Avenue, another family member was killed. 3 others were killed at the Samuel Gompers housing development. By the time Illinois State Police arrived and pieced together what had happened across 3 locations in a single city, 5 members of the same family were dead and 2 more were fighting for their lives in a St. Louis hospital. Illinois state troopers spotted the 2 suspects and arrested them at a state park the same day. The violence was over, but the questions were just beginning. When Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly stood in front of reporters on the evening of July 12th, he used 2 words to describe what had happened across East St. Louis that day: targeted mass shooting. Not a random act of violence, not a conflict that spilled into the streets. A targeted operation carried out across 3 locations against members of the same family. He called it horrible. He called it evil. He said it would not keep the city down. But the detail that law enforcement was still processing in the hours after the arrests was not just the scale of what had happened. It was who had done it. Mayor Davis is 16 years old. He has been charged as an adult in St. Clair County Circuit Court with 12 felony counts. 5 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, 2 counts of aggravated battery, 1 count of dismembering a human body, 1 count of aggravated vehicular hijacking, 1 count of unlawful use of a stolen firearm. He appeared in court and addressed Patricia May's death by saying it happened a while ago, not with remorse, not with visible grief, with the casual distance of someone describing something that had already stopped mattering to them. His 15-year-old girlfriend faces first-degree murder charges in juvenile court. Prosecutors are seeking to have her case transferred to adult court. She cannot be publicly named because she is under 16, but the court record tells the story clearly enough. A 15-year-old girl allegedly helped plan the systematic killing of her own family members because the family would not allow her to be with a boy who had stolen a gun from them. Mary Young, a pastor and family friend who said she knows everyone involved, described the original conflict simply: he had gotten put out. She wanted them to let him stay. They could not be together. That is the entire origin of 5 deaths. A teenage relationship, a family that said no, and 2 teenagers who allegedly decided that no was not an answer they were willing to accept. The text message that prosecutors revealed in court is the detail that closes the psychological distance between a headline and a reality. I love blood. For words on a phone, already sent before the shooting started, already part of the record of who these 2 people were in the days leading up to July 12th. That text did not come from nowhere. It came from somewhere that investigators are still fully mapping. And it sits inside a case that St. Clair County prosecutors are building toward the most serious possible outcome. East St. Louis is a city that has been through enough. A community across the Mississippi River from St. Louis that has spent decades navigating poverty, violence, and the specific exhaustion of a place that keeps showing up for itself despite everything the world throws at it. The Jackie Joyner Kersee Foundation Foundation sits in this community for a reason. Because this city produces people worth investing in. Because the people here deserve more than the headlines that find them. Patricia A spent her life proving that. A 74-year-old minister and community volunteer who showed up for her church and her neighbors and her family until the moment her own granddaughter allegedly lured her through a door she should have been safe walking through. Cherie L spent her life in this community. Devin D came to check on his mother. Shania Thompson and Quentin Thompson were family. All 5 of them gone because 2 teenagers decided that a relationship the family tried to end was worth more than the lives of the people who tried to end it. Marcus A lost 5 members of his own family to the plan his daughter allegedly helped build. He is grieving, and he is the father of an accused killer at the same time. There is no clean place to stand inside that reality. There is only the weight of it. lled Davis will face trial as an adult. His 15-year-old co-defendant faces the possibility of the same. The text messages are in the court record. The storage tote is in the court record. The grandmother's thumb is in the court record. Whatever argument Davis makes about not planning at the evidence that prosecutors are presenting to a St. Clair County courtroom tells a story that started on July 5th and did not end until 2 teenagers were arrested at a state park on July 12th. Here is the question this case is leaving with every person who hears it. At what point did the family realize the relationship was dangerous enough to end? And was there a version of that conversation that could have happened differently? Not to assign blame to people who are already grieving, but because somewhere in this country right now there is another family watching a relationship they are worried about and wondering whether to say something, whether to draw a line, whether to say no. Patricia A drew that line. Her family drew it with her. And 5 of them are gone because of it. If you want to follow this case with us, subscribe to Crime Cipher and turn on notifications, because when there is a court date, a plea, or a verdict in the cases of lled Davis and his 15-year-old co-defendant, we will be right here. Leave a comment with Patricia A, Cherie L, Devin D, Shania Thompson, Quentin Thompson, and the 2 survivors still carrying their injuries in your thoughts. Share this video so that this family is remembered as more than a body count in an East St. Louis headline. And we will see you on the next case.